Hey guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan, that's Tyler, that's Jordan, and with 25% of the NFL season in the books, which is hard to believe it's gone by fast, but now it is time to reflect, look at how teams have done, evaluate them, see based on the record, how they've played, who they've played, pretty much everything that their team has encountered, how have they responded to it, how have they translated it into success on the field. So, it is time for quarter season report cards. We are going to grade every team in the NFC West based on how they've done so far to the quarter point of this season. So let's get started. Report card time.
Well, I think we may as well start with the leader in this division, not a team we would expect coming into the season. The San Francisco 49ers are winning this division with a record of 3-0. Jordan, I'm going to invite you to talk a little bit more about their offense first.
The 49ers offense. All right, here we go. So, Tevin Coleman got injured in the first game of the season, so he is going to be out. He might be coming back next week. We'll see about that. But they have a pretty good running back committee. They have Mostert, they have Breida, and there's one more guy I'm missing. I'm sorry, I should know his name, but I'm blanking on it as of this moment. Jimmy Garoppolo, he's played all right. He hasn't played beautifully, but he's played all right. Receiving core, they've played pretty good too. Deebo Samuel coming in as a rookie, and he's playing pretty well, as well as some other guys who are stepping up. And then George Kittle, who is a great tight end. He hasn't done very much, but he does draw a lot of coverage, so it gets other guys open. So that's something great for their offense there. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do with this offense. I do think it's a decent offense, but I don't think it's a very one of the most stout offenses in the league. I don't think it's too dangerous. I think you got to worry about it a little bit, but I'm not too worried about their offense. They're good, but they're not insanely good. Mm-hmm. Ryan, what do you think about defense?
Well, their defense, they haven't given up more than 20 points in a game this year. They've only played 3 games due to, as we mentioned, they have a bye. They held Tampa to 17, the Bengals to 17, and the Steelers, the Mason Rudolph-led Steelers to 20. So, I mean, they've done pretty much everything that they've been asked to do, but they really haven't played any elite offenses yet. Obviously, later down the stretch, they've got some tough games. They play the Rams, Seattle, Green Bay, the Saints with probably by this point Drew Brees back. So they really haven't played any of the toughest opponents on their schedule yet, but obviously they don't make their schedule, so their defense is doing everything that they need to do right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think you mentioned the defense. I mean, they're playing a lot better than they did last year. I think that's the key to why they're 3-0 right now. Of course, Jimmy Garoppolo being back is also helping their case as well, but they have not played the best opponents as we have all mentioned. I do think they're going to be a solid team, though. I don't think they're going to end up winning this division, but we're just going to go through now and give the 49ers a grade. We give each individual team from the NFC West a grade, starting with the current leaders in this division, the 49ers. I'm going to say right now, not counting who they've played, the way they've played against these opponents, I got to give them an A-. They've played well against opponents.
Yeah, they've done pretty much, as we mentioned, everything you ask them to. I agree with a lot, but I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to give them an A, mainly because of how quickly Jimmy Garoppolo has gotten back into the swing of things. You know, he had a bad first half in that Week 1 game, but ever since, he's been playing well. San Francisco gets an A, and they've been doing great things for the first quarter of the season.
What they've shown so far definitely deserves an A, but I think the team that they are, to me, in my mind, is an A-. I'm going to agree with my brother. An A- for the San Francisco 49ers. As we jump to which team we're doing next. We're doing the Seahawks next. So, Ryan, talk a little bit about the Seahawks offense.
Well, Seattle's offense, obviously, we know they got Russell Wilson. We know that they are a team that, I feel like whenever they score in bunches. You know, sometimes in games it takes them a little bit to get going. Obviously, you look, last week against Arizona, they got it done. They scored a lot. They capitalized on their opportunities. The previous week, though, however, they were down 33-7 well into the second half against New Orleans, and that was really concerning for me. But, I think as long as they got Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett there, and they kind of have a committee of running backs that they like to use, I think the offense is doing good things, but last week, it was their defense that made really a lot of good plays. I think they have a pick 6 last week. It was Clowney, because I just didn't know if it was a fumble or a pick. But honestly, Seattle's looking good right now, but I am just a little bit concerned about their defense. The offense is there, but the defense, just giving up 33 points against Teddy Bridgewater, I'm worried. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, you can't. The defensively, it's definitely not the Legion of Boom, of course.
No, not even close.
Not even close. Yes, you're right about that. But I think they're going to be better, of course, the addition of Jadeveon Clowney. He's already starting to show things. Of course, Bobby Wagner being 99 overall rated in Madden. I mean, apparently that gives good implications for him being a good player. I don't think he deserves to be that much of
He's
a good
good,
player. Of course, we talked about Richard Sherman being there for a while. He's with the 49ers, which we did not mention about the 49ers. I just wanted to point that out as well. But I think this defense can do enough because of the offense, in which we'll talk about in a second. But I want to give Jordan a second to talk about the defense if he wants to.
You guys kind of both covered the defense. The defense for Seattle is not like a completely amazing defense. They have good parts and they put things together. They get the job done, and it really helps when they have a great home field advantage where they are. Especially helps their defense because their fans are loud. Now, of course, they don't play all 16 games at home. They play 8 at home. So that's really what I have to say about their defense. They're pretty good defense. They keep them in games. They don't let up too many points that often.
All right, let's shift over to the offense. I'll start. I just want to talk about the running back.
A little bit. You add on.
Yeah, let's talk more in detail about the
deep
offense.
discussions.
Yes, because we're only talking about 4
Yeah.
teams. We got plenty of time. Let's go into detail. All right, I'm going to start with the running back position here because Chris Carson needs to pick it up. He's had fumble problems in the first couple
Literally,
of games.
pick it up.
Yeah, he literally needs to
He doesn't need to pick it up. He
There
needs
you
to
go.
keep it in his hand.
Yeah, I didn't even mean to make
Just don't
that
drop
joke.
it in the first place.
Yeah, if you don't drop it, you don't need to pick it up. But he has had fumble problems, as we mentioned. And, he's just not getting the yardage that he was last year. This team last year, they were a run-dependent team. They were running the ball so much last year. They can't really do that this much. We have to see Rashad Penny, their sophomore running back, start to emerge. I think that's a possibility. They drafted him first round. He has that type of talent. If he can, that's going to help them very much this season. Russell Wilson so far has had 0 interceptions. If he keeps that up, that'll be a great thing. He's had 901 passing yards in these first 4 games. That's not exactly amazing, but it's good enough to keep his team in it, of course, and 7 touchdowns as well. So he's not doing bad with a QB rating of 119.6 this year. I'd say that's pretty good for him. And the rest of the offense, of course, DK Metcalf as well at the receiver position is starting to do things, not just solely based on Tyler Lockett. You don't want to make it one-dimensional receiver-wise. You don't want to just have one receiver that you're throwing to every play. DK Metcalf has been helping out with that immensely. Offensively, on the offensive line, they've given up 8 sacks. That's not
Terrible. It's like
for
when
the
the
first 4
Texans give up a
games.
game.
That's about, it's like 2, it's an average of 2 sacks per game. That's not that bad. I mean,
That's not bad at
Big
all.
math guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Seattle's offense, like a couple years ago, just quickly to add on to what you say, Seattle's offensive line a few years ago was really a concern, but then they traded for Dwayne Brown and drafted some guys, and then it's really gotten better as that stat proves. And then one just thing I want to add to the offense, tight end Will Disley is really emerging as a red zone target.
He's on my fantasy team.
Oh yeah, I did not know that. Did you draft him or pick him up?
I picked him up.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So Will Disley, he's really emerging as a nice red zone target for them. So unless anyone else got anything to add, we ready to give our grades? Or
Yeah, let's send out these cards, baby.
all right.
I'll start this time. I'm going to give the Seahawks the same grade that I gave the 49ers. I'm going to give them an A-. They've looked good, but they have not looked good enough so far to be at A range for me. It should be a fun division.
Yeah, I look at the Seahawks. I see a lot of potential. Look at the running game, as Tyler talked about, is not where it needs to be. But they drafted, as we talked about, Rashad Penny. Some guys just need a year in the NFL before they get up to speed and start producing. Maybe that's the case with him. The talent is there. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Will Disley, as we talked about, doing nice things. But the defense, it's just not Legion of Boom-like. Giving up 33 points to that Saints, that game really concerned me because I thought that was the game Seattle should be able to win at home with that crowd against the backup quarterback making his first start of the year. But they're 3-1, so I think that says something too. But ultimately, when they only beat the Bengals by 1 at home, and that is a little concerning to me. So Seattle still got some work to do, but I'm gonna give them a B+.
Yeah, by the way, those stats that I mentioned for Russell Wilson, those were through the first 3 games. He has 1,141 yards and 8 touchdowns. Still 0 interceptions, though. Just want to make that point clear. I do think besides the Saints game, of course, they're 3-1, the only game they lost. They looked very bad in that game. At home, of course, they're coming back home this week against the Rams. It's going to be a test for them. But so far, I think they're playing well. Even though they're not at the top of the division like these 49ers are, I'm going to give them a better grade. I think they've shown that they're a better team. I'm going to give them an A. All right, we move down the division. Next up, the Los Angeles Rams. Ryan, I'm going to let you start with that one because you are high on the Rams. Start with offense, defense. Doesn't matter, whatever you feel.
Well, I'm going to start with the offense because the offense actually showed up last week for the Rams. They were scoring a lot of points because they have playmakers. No matter how you say it, Todd Gurley is finally starting to come back slowly but surely, Gurley, to where he was at the beginning of last year. Jared Goff, he started off a little shaky, and that's not what I expected. I'll admit that. I think he has actually 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, so pretty mediocre stats right there. But, I think he'll get it together. And then, of course, Cooper Kupp, Woods. I think Robert Woods is actually one of the more underrated receiving corps in the game. So yeah, I think the offense showed up. So when we're going to talk about in this Rams segment of our video, we're going to talk, I'm sure, a lot about what the heck happened in that Buccaneers game. I don't really think we need to blame the offense that much because when you score, 40 points, you should win. So I think the Rams, I still think they have a top 3 offensive unit in the NFL. They score a lot of points. They've already scored 117 points this year. That's the most of any team in the NFC West. So I think that says something about their offense. So I'm going to let either of you guys, whoever wants to, talk about their defense, which did not show up for work last Sunday, but the offense is one of the league's best.
I'll take this one. So their defense is a defense that you could look at, and on paper they look pretty good, of course. They have, we all agree on the defensive player of the year, or defensive player, the best defensive player. I can't speak. The best defensive player in the league on that team, Aaron Donald.
Yep.
Got it right. There we go. So that's obviously one guy. They've upgraded a lot. They have Eric Weddle in the secondary. They have Talib. So on paper, they look like they have great players, but they're just sometimes where the Rams defense is not, like you said, they don't show up, they don't put it together, and they need to put it together in these games. You cannot depend on your offense to do everything for you. It goes both ways. You can't depend on your defense to do everything for you, and you can't depend on your offense to do everything for you, because there's going to be times when, even if you have an amazing defense, or opposite way, you have amazing offense, you're going to lose games if you don't have a two-headed attack on offense and defense. So I do think the Rams will be able to pick that up in the future, but for that game, the previous game, they did not. That being said, I'm still high on the Rams, but you got to pick up their defense.
Yeah, this team is solely based on their offense. Their offense is the main part of this team. Of course,
the offense is the main part of the offense.
Hey, you're messing up talking too, by the way.
Yeah.
So Aaron Donald, of course, being on defense, that's the only thing. But they depend on Jared Goff, Todd Gurley, Brandon Cooks. That offense, all these offensive players that need to put up these points. I'm just gonna keep saying offense, because this was what this Rams team is. They solely rely on these players to do things that are extraordinary because their defense has not done much at all. So that starts with Aaron Donald, of course. He has 1 sack this season. Of course, didn't start off good last year and still won Defensive Player of the Year. He has plenty of time to catch up. 6 tackles, though. I'm looking at these stats and questioning whether these are accurate. But Pro Football Reference is what I'm on right now, looking at these stats. So it seems accurate. Of course, the Rams have made some moves defensively. Clay Matthews, LaMarcus Joyner, they got both of them in free agency, and it's not helping. They need to find something to do with this defense because it's resulting in huge problems. Offensively, they'll be fine. They put up 40 points this week. You should be winning games, as Ryan said, with 40 points. But defensively, you gotta play better.
Well, I said it before. We all thought at the beginning of the year that Defensive Player of the Year, Aaron Donald, he's a great player, but at this point, he's not. And
by his standards, yeah, by Aaron Donald level
well,
standards.
even just by NFL standards, he's not playing.
1 sack, 6 tackles.
He's great.
Okay.
I mean,
he's got time.
There's a lot of other defensive players in the league that are doing better than him. I understand if you're a great player like that, people are going to double team you. People are going to try to find ways to stop you. But sorry, I was watching the game on my phone. But you gotta figure out something. Even if you're double teaming Aaron Donald, you gotta get those other guys to step up. And if someone's getting double teamed, there's most likely a one-on-one opportunity with one of your better guys on the offensive line that can beat somebody out. So you gotta get those things going. The Rams they're still the Rams, and I think all of our opinions. So Anything else? that
I
needs
do
to be
believe
said?
they are still
Yeah,
the Rams.
Yeah,
I gotta
well,
say. I gotta say
Wait,
one
let me
thing.
check.
Yep,
They're
they're
Rams. They're Rams.
I just gotta say one more thing about their defense, because I know we're beating up on the Rams defense a lot, and for some of that is for good reason, because there's just simply no excuse to let Tampa come into your house and put up 55 points on you. That's just really no NFL team should be giving up 55 points to anyone on a regular basis. But let's not look at the 2 weeks before, Week 3 Sunday Night Football. They really shut down the Browns and Freddie Kitchens' offense. They held the Browns to 13. And then the next week, the Browns went on to score 40 points in Baltimore against a good defense. So I think that's worth something. And then Tyler, you're not going to like that I say this, but in Week 2, the Rams held the Saints to 9 points, and that was with Drew Brees playing some of the game. And then,
some of the game, not a lot of the game.
but still, and then the next week with Teddy Bridgewater playing all 60 minutes, they went up to Seattle and scored 33 points. You know, Tyler, your beloved Seahawks, this is a point of comparison here that I think we need to make, because while the Rams defense played really bad last week, they held their previous two opponents to a combined total of 22 points.
I mean, I agree with that completely, but it's the first couple of games. It's always going to be like that. You can't really tell what's going on, but you have outings like this that can happen, especially at home. That's kind of my point, saying that they got to play better. I'm not saying they're a bad defense.
Okay.
They're just not playing up to their expectations right now, especially having a guy like Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
Let's get into these report cards now. I'm not saying that this team is bad. I'm saying I still think the Seahawks are going to win this division. This has been a long-going debate between me and Ryan. I think this Rams team is just as good as the Seahawks team, so I'm going to give them an equal comparison. Both 3-1. I'm giving them an A.
Yeah, I look at the Rams. I just kind of talked about it, how I think this bad defensive performance, I think it was just a hiccup for them, because you look at weeks 2 and 3. There you go, weeks 2 and 3. They played well against teams that went on to score lots of points against their next opponent. So I do think the way this Buccaneers game transpired was a little odd, but I think the Rams have the talent to pretty much go. I think they're gonna win the Super Bowl, but as far as quarter season, I'm just gonna keep it simple. They're doing everything they need to do on offense. Defense, just a few kinks to work out, but I think the Rams, they're looking like a contender on offense. And defense, they're there. They just have to play consistently. But honestly, if you've got that offense back there, you can give up a decent amount of points, but not 55. But the fact of the matter is that the Rams, they are a good football team. They get an A.
I don't know if you can see it, but that's an A.
Hey!
You're not a very great one. I worked on it pretty hard. If you were watching me while I was speaking, I was making this formation of an A. I'm going to give them an A. I think they're a pretty good team, and they should pick it up in the future. Let's move on to the bottom of this division.
Oh, I got a lot to say.
The Arizona Cardinals. Ryan's got a lot to say. Let him say it.
So, obviously, they get...
Oh, no.
Okay.
I see what he's pulling up his phone. It's not looking good right now.
Okay.
He's about to trash them.
No, but, okay. But really...
He likes his Cardinals.
But yeah, I do. But really, remember the Cardinals? They drafted Kyler Murray. It's just gonna go so great, right? Like, he's gonna come out of the field. He's gonna take the league by storm.
Yeah.
He's gonna win the MVP. He's gonna go crazy.
Of course.
And no one. It's not like there's anyone at this table that foreseen this struggle. Oh wait, yes, I predicted this. I gave Kyler Murray a D+. Well, I shouldn't say Kyler Murray. I gave the Cardinals a D+ draft grade for drafting Kyler Murray, and I stand by that, because the air raid offense isn't really performing. I even saw it. Yes, I know preseason's meaningless, but even when I watched the Cardinals in preseason, it didn't just look right. It didn't flow when Kyler played. That's carried over a little too much into the regular season. Their offense is just not functioning. And really what I think it comes down to is they did not address the offensive line whatsoever. Because, look, drafting offensive line, it isn't the cool thing to do. It's not the Heisman-winning quarterback or the receiver that ran the fast 40. It's not the attractive pick, but you got to do it, because you got to win those battles in the trenches. And the Cardinals just did not address the offensive line. They're like, yeah, we're going to get Kyler Murray. We're going to get him 8 slot receivers. And then Kyler Murray doesn't have any protection. So I really just think it's not working. I mean, Kyler, it's not Kyler Murray's fault. I said this from the beginning. I didn't think this would make a huge impact and take the league by storm like some analysts were saying it would.
Yeah, and I don't want to come in here and just trash Cliff Kingsbury, but before he's even got a chance.
I didn't mention Cliff Kingsbury.
I'm saying, like,
Okay,
what
you
I'm
want
gonna
him
do.
to?
No, okay.
But I just want to. I think, yes, that goes with the drafting thing. He's talking about how they're drafting these offensive superstars to be. I do think Kyler Murray could be a great player in this league. It's going to take time. I questioned why they went out and got Cliff Kingsbury in the first place. I just don't get it. You know, he was not that great in college, and now coming in, I guess he does have a good fit with Kyler Murray, but it's not going very well so far. But you have to remember, this team was 3-13 last year. You can't expect them to just completely turn it around because they drafted a quarterback first overall. I know what we saw last year with the Browns, but you can't expect that to completely just change. This start is not something, or is something that some people would expect because of the opponents that they played and how good they were last year. So you have to compare it to last year. You can't just say, well, they got Kyler Murray, they should be 3-1, 2-2.
That's
you got to compare it to last year, but you also got, you upgraded the offense, and I understand why the defense isn't its greatest, but you really focused on the offense this year, and like Ryan said, not the offensive line, but you focused on the quarterbacks and the wide receivers, and they're not playing very well together as a unit. And I know we're only to week 4, going on to week 5, but you got to put it together. I don't care if you're rookies. I don't care if you have a rookie quarterback. I don't care if you're comparing it to last year. You got to put it together. And at this point in the season, if you're not putting it together, you just look bad. You got to start putting it together. And that goes for any team, not just the Cardinals, any offense. If you're still looking bad by this point in the season, you really got to start working on something and possibly make a change to something. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do. But let's get off the offensive side of the ball here for a little bit. Let's go on to the defensive side of the ball. Let Tyler talk about that.
Well, it's not just offense that's been the problem here in Arizona. It's been defense as well. Of course, not having Tyrann Mathieu in has been something that has been affecting them. They would be a lot better had he been playing. But they're not playing up to their expectations, of course. Ryan has the schedule up here. I'm going to look at the scores.
Well, hold on. Can we bring back?
I'm sorry.
A few years outdated there. He was on the Cardinals at one point, then went to Houston for a year.
I'm saying not having Tyrann Mathieu there anymore is what I was saying.
Well, that would be last year. What you'd be saying.
Okay.
It's 2 years.
I'm just saying that's what I was.
Yeah, still
getting
affecting
at.
them for 2 years.
Well,
ago.
I was waiting to see if you would catch on and beat him up for that.
Yeah.
So 27 points they gave up in the first game. That was 23.
That's not bad against Baltimore. I don't think.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
This
And
is
then
a real concern.
38 against the Panthers.
That's a concern.
And last week 27. So they've given up over 20 points in every single game so far. You just cannot be doing that as a defense. Obviously, yes, Tyrann Mathieu being gone for 2 years now, they could really use his help at this point. It's just the point I was trying to get at.
Yeah, and they have the best.
Were you?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, they have the best defensive player for the. Oh wait, no, they don't because they didn't draft the right guy in the 2019 draft. Darn, they could have had the best player of the 2019 draft class. That's true, but that's not really his fault. But yeah, I just don't think. I think this the way the Cardinals are starting right now, I think this goes back to last April. I really do.
And one more thing before we get onto the grades here, we also didn't talk about David Johnson, the running back. Just figured we should bring him up a little bit because he's not a bad running back.
No, he's not.
He's good. Do or threat. He can receive and run the ball. So, of course, we've all talked about it. They want to get that pass game going. But to be a successful team in the NFL, you love to see a team pass the ball. You love to see the Chiefs, throw the ball. But what you look at the Chiefs and you look at Patrick Mahomes, you're like, wow. But they also have a decent running game. They know how to at least run the football and make you not believe that they're going to throw it. Even when you do believe that they're going to throw it, they know how to throw it. So that's the difference between a team like the Chiefs and the Cardinals. Now, not saying that we should immediately start comparing the Chiefs and the Cardinals just because the Cardinals broke down their offense, but just things like that you got to look out for. But David Johnson, like I was talking about, he's decent. They got to give him the ball more. So
yeah, that's
vital.
That's a great point as well. That he's being utilized a lot in the pass offense. They got to start running the ball more. We knew this was going to be an air raid, but it cannot be as much as an air raid has been so far. So with that being said, Jordan, you start with the grades.
Okay, well, this is going to be interesting to see what the Cardinals can do in the future, but I'm going to give them let's go with a C+ here. I just need to see more of them. They did get a tie.
C plus more.
Okay. I'm going to give them a C+. They did get a tie against the Lions in week 1, but they do need to start picking it up here. We'll see if they can do that. As of this point, they haven't shown me enough to be any higher than a B. So yeah.
Yeah, looking at what the Cardinals have done in that first Detroit game, they were down 24-6. I think in the fourth quarter, right? Or if not late third. So I think they do deserve some credit there for coming back and forcing a tie that I'm sure felt a little bit more like a win for them, even though ultimately it's a tie. And then holding Lamar Jackson, who everyone was nominating for the MVP after 1 week, to 23 points, I think that's worth something. But then the defense, letting Kyle Allen come into your stadium and look like Tom Brady is just unacceptable for a defense. That was really concerning. And then the Seattle game, they just got outbeat in both phases of the game, and they lost that game by multiple scores. But really, the promised air raid offense for the Cardinals, it's not here. It's I think what we really need to realize is what Cliff Kingsbury really needs to realize, that this isn't college football. Your quarterbacks aren't going to have 40 yards of open space every other play. You can't run QB dives like Trevor Lawrence and Jalen Hurts do. This is the NFL. This is different. So I think it's really going to be a learning experience down the stretch for both Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray and the rest of that Cardinals offensive personnel. So I understand you get some slack because it's kind of a new thing, still working out some kinks, but ultimately there's a lot of things that they need to fix. Cardinals get a C.
Not even a winning coach in college. I said I don't want to beat up too much on Cliff Kingsbury, and that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you can't come into this team and expect to have such a good offense and be 0-3-1. It's not acceptable. I understand that you were not very good last year, and I made this point earlier. Yes, they'll be fine. I think they will start winning games eventually. But as of right now, I'm going to have to give them a C. They're not playing well. Just because I think they do have some potential. That's why I'm giving them this C.
All right. No, he can go lower. All right, so that is our grades. I'm just going to do one last thing. Let's rate these teams 1 through 4.
Ooh,
so it's like just participation grades. All right, someone got maybe you get a 4 if you have good participation, or you're not listening in class, you might get a 2. So I'll start, and I'll let you guys have your quick debate over there. I'm going to say the Rams are at 4, the Seahawks are at 3, the 49ers are at 2, and the Cardinals are
yeah.
at
You kind of threw me off there.
Okay, so
why can't it just be 1, 2, 3, 4?
Well, just because like if you're doing a report card, 4 is the highest.
Okay, 4 advanced, 3 proficient, 2 basic, 1 needs improvement. I get you.
Yeah.
So I'll just say, at the top, no doubt, is the Los Angeles Rams. 4. Number 3 is the San Francisco 49ers. I'm not kidding. Number 2 is the Seattle Seahawks, and number 1 needs improvement is the Arizona Cardinals.
Needs improvement.
Hey, I'm just reading the rubric.
That's true.
Well, I'm going to do this backwards. All right.
You're confusing
The bottom of it
Yeah.
is the Cardinals. Now I'm going to go back up to the top.
Okay.
Just wanted to get that one out of the way because that's an obvious one here. These ones could be shuffled any way you prefer to be. I have 1 being the Seahawks.
Ooh.
I have high expectations for this team. Number 2,
Wait,
all 3 of these teams, by the
Just did
sorry, number 3, or 4, getting the 4.
Why couldn't you just do it in the same order?
Yes, this is very okay. Whatever. Number 3, having 3 points. I'm giving it to the Rams.
Where did points come from?
I don't know. Number 2, obviously the 49ers. I think those 3 teams that I mentioned afterwards. I start with the Cardinals because those 3 teams are both very solid teams that I think have playoff potential.
Wow. You have the Rams at second to last.
No, they're second.
You
Okay.
just said it really weirdly. I don't know
Okay.
what he was thinking.
So
This point system is very confusing.
yeah.
it's really not.
So
Have been
you
a school
got
before?
Cardinals and then who? Cardinals at the bottom. Then who's second to last?
49ers.
Then the Rams are
Then
2.
the Rams,
There's-
then the
yeah.
Seahawks.
Okay. So I don't know how. What's your rationale for Seattle being over Los Angeles? And obviously we'll be able to have a much more interesting discussion
Let's hurry up
after
with this
Thursday.
argument here.
Yeah,
This
it's going to be
video's
brief.
very
It's going to be brief. It's not going to be a
We'll
debate.
see if
I
it's
just want to hear his
okay.
rationale because obviously this Thursday the 2 play each other, so we'll have a lot more to talk about after that. But I just want to hear your rationale for that.
I think Russell Wilson's play has been a lot better than Jared Goff's play. As
Fair.
what we've seen
That's fair.
so far. Of course, we're seeing these receivers for the Rams. They're of course Cooper Kupp and Brandon Cooks, of course, looking very good. But I think that these receivers from Seattle are going to be able to prove as well. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett both are going to be able to pick things up, and they have been doing well so far. For that reason, we're going to find out, of course, more once they play each other this week. But I think offensively, both teams rely on their offense. But right now, it's looking a little more steady for the Seahawks. I guess, for
But
the Rams.
yeah, Seattle, like they really struggled with the Bengals and Teddy Bridgewater and the Rams. They have win or lose, they score points. So obviously we don't want to turn this into a debate video, but I do think the Rams are the better team with the better offense when it's all said and done. But we're gonna have a lot more to talk about those two teams after Thursday. So we will see.
And now we will go off of the division. No more speaking of that topic. Let's finish off this video.
All right, thank you guys for watching this video. You're gonna get 2 long videos in a row this week.
Sorry.
Starting
Well,
with
not
this
sorry.
one.
We'll
We
get
just
a lot
like
of us
we
this
just like
week.
to ramble on, I guess. But yeah,
Talking football.
make sure to like, comment down below if you agree. I want to know who you agree with more,
Yeah.
me or Ryan. Who do you have
Rams are
winning
the
this
best
division?
team in the division.
We'll see.
Wait, what do you think?
I'm with you.
Oh yeah, team Rams over here.
I'm fine with being alone.
Mr. Defense
We'll
is
see how it goes
celebration.
at the end of the season. Make sure to subscribe to this channel if you want to see more long videos like this. We'll make them shorter, I promise you. And hit the notification bell to be notified when we post a new video. As they're laughing, I just want to mention, thank you guys again for watching. We've had so much fun doing this channel,
For sure.
debating,
Appreciate the
all
support.
this stuff. It's been a super fun. A quarter of the way through the season already. It's crazy. And yeah, we'll see you guys later.
See ya.